avoid, to keep from happening, to prevent. Collision, objects coming together violently with direct impact. Simple words and simple definitions. Unfortunately, when it comes to motor vehicles, things aren't always that simple. When you drive, you are constantly in the process of avoiding collisions. People with exceptional skills avoid unnecessary risk and successfully adapt to rapidly changing and often challenging traffic situations. These people use their preventive skills to avoid collisions day after day and year after year. The greater their collision avoidance skills are, the greater their chances of returning home safely at the end of the day. But mistakes happen, and lives are lost. Because some collisions are very deadly and very graphic, they receive plenty of attention. If this sort of attention helps other people avoid a similar fate, if it helps them to be more cautious as they drive, perhaps the spotlight has some value. But for every one of these you see, there are many, many more collisions of a less graphic nature. They receive less attention, but they remain one of the most prominent problems individuals and fleet operators face. And they too can be deadly. Backing collisions and fixed object collisions that may occur at slow forward speeds are so common that the vast majority of drivers with 10 or more years of driving experience will have had one or more of them in their histories. Yeah, they're common, but they are also almost all avoidable, and we will show you how you can avoid them. You don't want one of these accidents, and if you follow our simple formula of prevention, you probably won't have one. We call our formula compass maneuvering. You'll find it's pretty easy to learn and just as easy to apply to almost any maneuver you can make in a vehicle. In this show, we'll focus on how you can use this formula in backing and low-speed forward motion maneuvering. So, let's get started. You know, in these days and these times, it's very easy to get up-to-the-minute news. There are many sources of news, and they all have one purpose: to keep you informed. Well, as you drive, getting a very unique form of news is vital, and remaining informed is essential. If your news isn't current and complete, you're vulnerable. This is what your news will look like no matter what you drive or where you drive it. If you know what's in these areas, your stage is set for making good decisions. Poor decisions are usually made when people don't have or haven't updated their news. The information you'll need to make your safety-related decisions will nearly always be contained in these extended areas that surround your vehicle. Now, the compass we'd like you to think about has nothing to do with true compass directions. The best way to think of it is to assume that the nose of your vehicle is north, regardless of which way you are heading. Then, let the rest of your compass fill in as you see here. We've broken the information into quarters to help you make your information gathering efforts more manageable and more systematic. As an experienced driver, you know that hazards may be present in any of these areas. And at times, danger can lurk in more than one of these quadrants at the same time. Smith System's time-tested method of safe driving can help you see, evaluate, and make consistently good driving decisions. The system can help you sift through the news and select and act on what is relevant. It can help you make the correct decisions consistently. We'll use these keys of the Smith System to build a shield of safety around your vehicle as you move it at slow speeds in a wide variety of situations. In this presentation, we will not be focusing on using guides as you back. This approach has merit, but it's a detailed topic that could be the subject of its own show. Another subject we will not address is the policy of backing first or upon arrival. This can be an important safety strategy, but it too takes more time to discuss than we have available in this presentation. We defer here to the policies, if any, that may be in place within your organization. Okay, now let's start with your approach. Approaching your vehicle or approaching a parking site while driving your vehicle are important moments in vehicle safety. Advanced drivers take advantage of these opportunities. Average drivers tend not to. As you walk to your vehicle, it's important to know what's in each of the news quadrants. Even if you don't intend to back the vehicle, objects, other vehicles, animals, or people in these areas can pose a danger to you, just as you may present some danger to them. It takes just a few seconds to fill in the blanks that will certainly exist if you simply walk to the driver's door and get in. This is an example of using key number 2, Get the big picture. A simple circle of safety will give you your news. A few seconds, but a lot of important information. Now, on the other side of your journey, as you are approaching your destination and parking site from behind the wheel, use key number 1, aim high in steering. Here, you want to think about your departure as you arrive. Know that all parking sites are not created equally. Aim high. Look, think, and plan ahead to organize your safe stop and your eventual departure. Use your compass. Take it all in. When you use these skills, you are looking for a way to avoid backing, and you are thinking about what your news quadrants will look like when you stop. If a choice of parking sites exists, take the one that offers the fewest possible points of conflict. That spot isn't always the closest or most convenient place you can park. Think several moves ahead. Try to anticipate all of the variables that might affect you before you park, as you are stopped and as you begin to leave. This is your big picture, and these are the thoughts of drivers who know how to stay out of trouble. Think about what may change while you are out of your vehicle. Changes brought about by others can contribute to your mistakes. And don't forget to check. Collisions are built around the unexpected. Let's come back to the thought of avoiding backing when possible. While there are many exceptions, backing for most fleets represents less than 1% of total driving miles. Yet for many fleets, backing collisions represent 40 to 60% of their total collisions. If you work out the math, you'll find that under these circumstances, on a per-mile driven basis, backing is 66 to 148 times more likely to generate a collision than is driving forward. Knowing this should create a powerful incentive to avoid backing whenever doing so is possible. When backing is required, and it often is, you should think of putting your vehicle in reverse as a hazardous driving maneuver, and think of it as one that deserves your full attention. Yes, backing can be hazardous, but it can be simplified to reduce the possibility of conflict. Now, we understand that the real world doesn't always offer people ideal safety options as they drive. But there will be times when you will have choices. It's important to understand that when choices exist, knowing which ones to make can be the difference between a safe and simple maneuver and an avoidable collision. Well-trained drivers quickly analyze their parking environments and make the right decisions. For example, let's say that this is your backing destination, and in this situation you happen to have 3 choices. You could back your vehicle like this, and we'll call this option number 1, or like this, option 2, or like this, option 3. Now, which would you choose? Let's go back to the compass to evaluate the risks. One of the objectives of compass maneuvering is to minimize the danger in each quadrant. With options 1 and 2, you must turn as you back, and when you do so, you bring these news areas into play unnecessarily. The front end of the vehicle will be moving from side to side, and since many people confine their attention to the rear of their vehicles as they back, these areas are often given little thought during the backing maneuver. If some of these check marks had been objects, there could have been a collision. And as you can see, options 1 and 2 have objects nearby. Option 3 minimizes the potential for conflict. When using option 3, the only side of the vehicle that can strike an object is the back. The sides, while still part of the area that you need to monitor, are less exposed to harm. The message here is to back straight if you can. Now, if option 3 didn't exist, is there a difference between options 1 and 2? Is one of these choices better? Well, option 1 utilizes sight-side backing. Your head is closer to the left mirror. That gives you better visibility. You can also look over your shoulder more easily toward the direction your vehicle is moving. Blind side backing exposes you to more danger because your blind spots are larger, and at times your mirrors may be less aligned with the direction you intend to move. Set your backing maneuver up for success. If you can, back straight. If not, attempt to make a sight-sided approach. Think of this as clockwise movement. And in any case, monitor all sides of your compass throughout this short journey. Keep updating your news. Now that might seem like a lot to ask, and it is if a driver moves his or her vehicle too quickly. Vehicle speed here is a critical factor. People seldom give it much thought, but if you move too quickly, you will diminish the ability of your eyes to keep your mind up to date on what is happening around you. Move too quickly, and your eyes will tend to lock onto one or two objects. They simply can't keep up with the information in all of these quadrants in a very short span of time. Keep your speed low, and you'll give yourself plenty of time to review your news. For most applications, we believe that approximately 1 mile per hour is about as fast as most people can travel in reverse and still keep track of all of their quadrants. Moving at this speed will also give other people more time to react to you, should that become necessary. And in the unlikely event that you have a collision, the damage will be minimal. Now, remember, as you back, current information may not remain current for long. Countless collisions have occurred because people assume that their information is up to date, when the reality is that something has changed. Good drivers know and allow for this common driving problem. It can happen quickly, it can come from about any direction, and it can be completely unanticipated. Poor decisions are often made when the responsible person doesn't have all the facts. Again, use key 3 here to deliver key 2. If you use these keys, the information contained in your compass will be delivered to you. But now let's move on to how compass maneuvering and our 4th key work together. Have you ever noticed that people drive in clusters or packs? Well, if you look around in parking environments, you'll notice that they park in packs too. Now, that might not be the smartest thing for them to do, but that tendency gives you an advantage. The space that they won't use is out there waiting for you. This is often true with larger vehicles as well. Key 4 is about making space your safety assistant. If objects don't get close to you, they can't hit you. In here, there isn't much margin for error. Any small mistake or oversight can have an unfortunate consequence. Tight spaces and backing are a bad combination. It really is a formula for trouble. Now, we know there are times that the safest parking location isn't always practical. Weather conditions, predetermined parking positions, multiple trips to a vehicle, a heavy delivery, or sometimes even personal security might override your desire to find a wide-open parking spot. We're also aware that the task being performed or the circumstances of a particular stop may minimize the options available to even the most thoughtful drivers. But in all cases, use your compass and the keys to help you sort through the variables you'll face in every parking or backing situation. Even when you can't position your vehicle in the best possible space, keep in mind that some spots are better than others. Your hands, your feet, and your eyes and mind are your primary driving tools. Use them. If you always evaluate your options, you'll avoid making the types of simple mistakes that the average driver makes routinely. Thinking, not just doing, is the key. And if you use these fundamentals consistently over hundreds or thousands of stops, your safety record will separate you from the crowd. And please, don't drop your guard. Most of these collisions take place when people fail to give proper consideration to the job. They are thinking about their next destination, family issues, a conversation on their cell phone, or any number of other extraneous thoughts. This is particularly true when the backing task doesn't seem very challenging. These maneuvers don't take long, but to be done properly, they demand your attention. Even when the job seems simple, stay focused, use your keys, and don't neglect your compass. If you can do these things, you can avoid the problems that follow when one object gets tangled up with another. Okay, let's talk about forward motion compass maneuvering. When moving forward, there are a different set of issues to be considered. Slow speed, fixed object collisions often happen in unstructured driving environments. By unstructured, we mean areas that lack formal, enforced guidelines that help people establish vehicle direction and speed. In this type of area, people often drive in any direction at about any speed. Here, some drivers either don't know or don't abide by any formal or informal rules. In addition, objects that are not often found on a typical roadway can be common in these environments. To compensate, people need to expand the range of their compass. Since you may be moving faster than you would while backing, you'll need to extend your viewing area to provide more advanced knowledge of what is happening around you. In the quickly changing driving world, time is safety. The more time you give yourself, the more likely it will be that you can head off conflict. To the degree possible, we suggest that you use the available painted surface markings and signs to guide your direction. These indicators help organize a parking area and can make it somewhat more predictable. But beware, in these situations, people or vehicles can and will come at you from just about any direction. You may be doing what you should be doing, but you can be pretty sure that other people won't. And consider that no matter what direction you move in or how careful you are, there will be times that you will need the help of others to stay out of trouble. People will be distracted, they'll be moving without thinking, and they can be dangerous to you and to themselves. When those moments happen, there may not be time for hesitation. You'll need to act. What you need is eye contact, a mutual awareness of the building danger. That is what our fifth key is all about. You can either hope they will see you, or you can ask them to wake up. Well, hoping probably won't work. Use your horn in a friendly way. A simple tap will often get the job done. Use your signals to send clear messages to others about your intentions. Do what is required to take control of the situation as soon as possible. Remember, in these environments, hazards can come at you from any point on the compass. It isn't just eye activity and mirror checking you'll need here. You've really got to move your head to scan the areas that your peripheral vision and mirrors just can't cover. You can't deal with a problem until you discover it. And again, speed control here can be critical. Move too fast, and you may be out of control without knowing it. You've seen it many times, people moving too quickly in these tight, dangerous settings. They often get by without hitting anything, but they've been lucky, and their luck probably won't hold.
911, what's the nature of your emergency?
At some point, their reckless approach to driving will catch up with them. Don't be like these people. Build a safety margin into your speed calculations. But what about those fixed object collisions? Drivers often hit objects that they just overlook. A simple key here is to avoid letting your tires travel over any piece of ground that your eyes haven't traveled over first. People usually learn about fixed object collisions with their ears or by the jolt they feel through the seat they occupy. Those sensations can be followed by panic and an instant need to get out to assess the damage. These are bad moments, and they are preventable conflicts. Be sure you know exactly where your vehicle is about to travel and what objects might be in or near your path.
In many vocations, you have professionals and you have amateurs. Driving is a pretty good example of that. It sounds harsh, but the truth is, when backing or moving forward, not knowing what objects are around the vehicle and where they are relative to the vehicle is an amateur's mistake.
If you don't know, don't go. Don't assume, don't guess. Moving forward or backward, if you're not sure, use this simple step. Goal. Get out and look. Get out and look. How many collisions could have been avoided if people had just done that? Sometimes in complex situations, you may have to do it more than once. Get the big picture. Just like when you were backing, place as much space in each of these quadrants as conditions will permit. Keep thinking of space as margin for error. Before another person or object can collide with you, they or it must first penetrate the space you have accumulated. The more space you have, the larger the error must be before any kind of damage can take place. And that space can work for you in other ways as well. First, it will insulate you from your own mistakes. You don't have to be as perfect in everything you do when you consistently maximize your space. In addition, your visibility will improve. Objects block your view, and they can occupy your attention. When you can do it, work at keeping fixed objects a little bit further from your vehicle. Your increased space, visibility, and time will help you make good driving decisions. Remember, space, visibility, and time are the three components of consistent behind-the-wheel safety. These tactics work when you are driving forward or when you are backing. Okay, so now you know what is happening around you, and you have your big picture in place, don't you? Well, you did, but you are moving, and so are others. That means that almost as soon as you have scanned your driving area, it's time to do it again. In your world, the news changes pretty fast. You just can't take anything for granted. Use your keys and update your knowledge of what is happening or what could be happening in each of your moving quadrants. Now, one of the benefits of working with some of the largest organizations in the world in their backyards is that we get to see firsthand what problems they encounter as they operate their vehicles. We understand that a driver's day can be filled with quickly changing, challenging situations. It can seem that the advice we provide will work well in some places and not so well in others. But the beauty of the space, visibility, and time concepts is that they work everywhere. Your surroundings will not always be perfectly safe. People won't always do what they should. And you will have distractions that make it difficult to stay fully focused. But when you boil it all down, compass maneuvering is just about awareness and prevention. If you learn these skills and make them habits, you'll have an edge that most drivers never will. It's really pretty simple. The one thing that is common in every collision is the unexpected. Compass maneuvering will help you remove the "un" from this word. When you can see and anticipate trouble, you can prevent it. The fact is, collisions almost always happen to the uninformed. Again, if you can remove the "un," you can remove most of the trouble from your driving day. Stay with it. Stay informed. Use these keys to deliver your news. Knowledge is power, and you have the power to avoid collisions. Thank you for your time.